So, this one's going to be again about super thinking, a book by Gabriel Weinberg and Lauren McCann. It's a pretty cool book. It's a little bit difficult to understand since it is actually the summary, and I always assumed that the book is going to be a little bit more explanatory than the summary is, just because the summary is short and the book is probably going to be longer, even maybe way longer. But yeah, it's still a pretty good and great book summary and also book, I assume. And afterwards, we're going to go through some funny pictures, and I'm hopefully then gonna come up with some things to talk about in terms of self-development and or self-improvement. I don't know why, I just think it might be a cool idea. I'm seeing after you I don't know. I'll see you after the intro. This is what I wanted to say. And with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And I'm pumped for this episode, even though it's pretty late. It's 6:30, and I shouldn't maybe shout around like a dumbass. I'm still probably gonna do that just because it's kind of my default. Like, I'm really defaulting into that. If you're on a podcast and or if you're on a YouTube channel, please go down into the description. There should be any link or every link that might be necessary for you, whether you want to just be on a podcast or you want to be on a YouTube channel or you want to check out my other social media sites. Everything should be down in the description. Also, the link to the amazing article that we're going to go through, and maybe even the sites we're then going to be on for the funny pictures. I really hope they're funny, and I'm gonna cut out everything that's inappropriate because I really do not want to have something like that in my episode. I really don't want to. But yeah, let's go through the article. The past few days we went up to, I think it's been 0.5, but I'm never quite sure. Yeah, and today we're gonna talk about decisions and again, decisions. I've decided to not go through everything and or to just look everything up and explain everything because this is totally something that you can be doing as well. So if there's something that you do not understand, maybe it's a law, it is just another expression, just please look it up. I've decided to do that because there might be the chance that somebody knows that, and by going through that, I don't know if this is then going to be good. Still, making something for everybody might not be also the best thing. Therefore, I just leave that out. I'm trying to be fast. I'm trying to just get more knowledge and hopefully also value in here. So yeah, I'm going to read. When tempted to use a pro and con list, which is listing all the pros and cons of a decision and weigh them against each other, consider upgrading to a cost-benefit analysis, which is a more systematically and quantitatively analyzing the benefits and costs across an array of options or decisions. Or you would be using a decision tree, a decision tree, which is a diagram that looks like a tree with different decisions and outcomes as branches, as appropriate, which means, to summarize that, you shouldn't actually be using pro-con lists, but rather you should be using those cost-benefit analysis, and or you should be using a decision tree. So this would be an example for a decision tree, and as you can see, it is about a car, I guess, and it's about an SUV and how many doors it should be having and plus minus. So I might be linking it down in the description as well for all the podcast listeners, since you can't actually see it. But yeah, I do really hope that I'm not going to forget about it, which is actually something that happens quite often. If so, please contact me or look it up on your own. Thanks a lot. When making any quantitative assessment, run a sensitivity analysis, which is analyzing how sensitive a model is to its input parameters, which actually really makes sense. Across inputs to uncover key drivers and appreciate where you may need to seek greater accuracy in your assumptions. I think as far as I can understand it, and I'm really not quite sure about it since I really only somehow understand like 20% of the whole text here. Just really knowing what to do to perform best in any system is key, basically. And I've just immediately been thinking about fucking school. Like, what is the best way to be good in school by just putting as less time into it as possible? I don't know. I don't know what the key drivers are there. I don't know what the key inputs there should be. Might be being in school, actually. It might be, I don't know. I guess this is actually something that depends also on the school. Beware of black swan events, or black swan, events. Extreme events with which have significantly higher probabilities than you might initially expect, and unknown unknowns. Use systems thinking when you attempt to think about the entire system at once, and scenario analysis, which is analyzing different future scenarios that might unfold to more systematically uncover them and assess their impact. For really complex systems or decision spaces, consider simulations to help you better assess what may happen under different scenarios, which is actually a pretty cool thing. And I guess in various different situations that might be applicable. I don't know if it's going to be just applicable in terms of what you should be eating today or tomorrow, or what your next meal should be like. I don't know. I think they're just actually pro con and or the decision tree and or the cost benefit thing would be more appropriate, I guess, since it's actually a relatively easy system or easy decision, I guess. Watch out for blind spots that arise from group thinking, a bias that emerges because groups tend to think in harmony, which is actually the case because people like us do things like this, I guess, because we just like to do what other people are doing and we just like to watch what other people are doing. Consider divergent, which is trying to get thinking to diverge in order to discover multiple possible solutions, and lateral thinking, which is trying to get thinking to converge on one solution. Techniques when working with groups, including seeking more diverse points of view. Strive to understand the global optimum, the best solution amongst all local optimums. Good but not great solutions in any system, and look for decisions that move you closer to it. Something that I've been thinking about in terms of actually figuring out different decisions is actually looking for the opposite thing. Sometimes when we are looking for information, we are only looking for the information that we are willing to have or willing to seek or willing to get, and or the results that we are willing to get. For example, if I'm looking up, is rice healthy? Then I'm probably going to find more articles that say that rice is healthy than if I would be searching for, is rice unhealthy? Because then I'm going to find articles about rice being unhealthy, and in the first place, or in the first one, I'm gonna find articles on why rice is healthy. And then you actually have to look up both. And something that some people do, and something that I've also been doing and I've learned to not do, is just only searching for one thing and only searching for one side, but looking for both sides and then just evaluating what I should be doing by thinking, I guess. Maybe I should then be doing some sort of a pro-con or something else. I don't know. I guess, should we go through the next one as well? I don't know. We would be left with 2 for tomorrow. I guess, let's go through the 7th point, which is dealing with conflict. Analyze conflict situations through a game theory lens. Look to see if your situation is analogous to common situations like the prisoner's dilemma. Probably the most famous game theory example. Ultimatum game, a game that helps you keep fairness in mind when you make decisions that impact people important to you, or War of Attrition, which is ATTRITION. A long series of battles depletes both sides' resources, eventually leaving vulnerable the side that starts to run out of resources first. Consider how you can convince others to join your side by being more persuasive through the use of influence models like reciprocity, commitment, liking, social proof, scarcity, and authority. And watch out for how they are being used on you, especially through dark patterns, which are models used to manipulate you for someone else's benefit. Think about how a situation is being framed and whether there is a way to frame it that better communicates your point of view, such as a social norm, which is the right thing to do, such as a favor, versus market norms, considering your own financial situation first. Distributive justice, fairness around how things are being distributed, versus procedural justice, fairness around adherence to procedures, and an appeal to emotion, which is influenced by manipulating your emotions or of emotions. Try to avoid direct conflicts because it can have uncertain consequences. Remember, there are often alternatives that can lead to more productive outcomes. If diplomacy, fails, consider deterrence, using a threat to prevent an action by an adversary, and containment, an attempt to contain the enemy to prevent its further expansion strategies. In a conflict situation, it is not your favor. So if a conflict situation is not in your favor, try to change the game, possibly using guerrilla warfare, nimbler tactics of a smaller force that larger forces have trouble reacting to effectively, and pushing above your weight. purposefully performing at a higher level than is expected of you. Tactics. There's a lot of brackets here, and it might sound a little bit off. Be aware of how generals always fight the last war, using strategies, tactics, and technology that worked for them in the past, and know your best exit strategy. Coming up with a well-defined exit plan that will keep you from doing things you might later regret. And that's quite it for the second part here. And now we're going to go through to the maybe funny part, maybe something part. I'm going to just try to... by the way, I've been looking up funny SFW, because I tried on Reddit, because I tried to just find something that's not going to be unsafe for work, or just something that's inappropriate and some other things. And the first thing that popped up is SFW porn. And I thought like, well, nah. But what if I just type in funny? There's going to be something that's going to be interesting. But I don't know, like 27.2 million people in here. Is it only videos, or is it just, it's just a bunch. Like, I found another website, before I'm actually spoiling you, I'm gonna link it down in the description for the people on the podcast. But the first picture is a fence, and on the fence there is a sign, please do not sit on the fence. And the fence is actually made out of spikes, basically. And it's just because I'm really trying to think of something that has something to do with self-development. Just because, first of all, it is a funny picture, and there are going to be funnier pictures as well. And I kind of thought like, well, maybe this is a good idea. And I've also realized that I'm basically doing the exact same fucking shit all the fucking time. And it might not really involve or evolve whatever I'm doing. So the sign says actually something that's pretty obvious. The thing with obvious things, and I've been talking about them before, and I'm just really trying to just talk about something that's basically the exact first thing that pops into my mind. A lot of things might be obvious to you, and this is just really important to emphasize, to you. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is also going to be obvious for somebody else. Therefore, explaining it and therefore saying it might be really important and might also be necessary, because I am not you and you're not me, and I'm not the guy next to you or the girl next to you or the nobody actually next to you, whatever. Therefore, just explain things. Nothing is really obvious, even though you kind of think it is obvious. Sometimes we can assume, sometimes when we are in an environment where we just know people, then we can assume certain things, and then we can assume that certain things are going to be obvious and whatnot. But if you're just in a public speaking environment, I guess, or a keynote environment, then it's not so going to be obvious. Really not, because there are so many people, especially that you do not know. Therefore, just really explaining everything and just also explaining it for everyone, so that everyone is able to understand and whatnot. This is how to wear a hoodie. Like, the first two pictures aren't really funny. The first one might be funny since it's like, you don't say, or obvious. There's a guy with popcorn in his, in his hoodie hat. I don't know what it's called. The thing that you're just putting over your head. I really don't know what it's called. And the thing is, often things are meant to be something. A mouse is meant to be a mouse. This is meant to be actually a hat. This is actually a hat. But the thing is, we often can use those things for something else. For example, I'm using a fucking selfie stick for holding my fucking phone, and it is working perfectly. I'm still having to just put my selfie stick into some weight plates, basically small weight plates. It's 0.5 kilograms, which is 11.02, well, no, it's not, wait a second, which is 1.1 pounds, which is really not a lot, but I'm using 3 of them, so I'm using like 1.5 kilograms, which is 3.31 pounds. So yeah, and it is holding my phone, and it's working really fucking fine, and there's no way to just use something else. And also, there's actually no way for me to buy a new microphone, because it's working really fine. Why should I then invest into it? Since it's also not going to really improve the whole podcast, It might be just improving how I think about the podcast, and it might improve, like in terms of, I think it's going to be better just because I'm having a new microphone, just because the quality is going to be better. But it doesn't necessarily have something to do with the quality of the podcast actually. Just because the audio quality is better doesn't really mean that it is going to be more interesting to listen to me, to listen to what I'm having to say, what I'm saying, and all those things. So really working on what you're talking about and just evolving what you're talking about, those things, this is actually also something that I'm now trying to do with those pictures. I don't know. It's not going to change a lot if you buy yourself new gear. Of course, if you're having the money, and it is probably also going to be something that I'm then going to do. If I'm earning money with whatever I'm doing, then I'm also going to invest in it, I guess. Just because I'm earning money because of it, and just because I have to evolve and I have to just upgrade the quality eventually, because the camera that I'm using is completely bullshit. Quality isn't really good. But you can see me, I can see you sometimes. But yeah. The next picture. It's actually pretty fun, to be honest. This one's really unfunny. This one's also really unfunny. My brain's hurting. There's I think it's called traffic light, and it says you can turn left, and there's next to the shield, or a sign actually, it's not a shield, it's a sign that says you're not allowed to turn left. So it's basically just the opposite thing. Sometimes some things don't make any sense. Something that I've realized in school, some things just don't make any sense. Why should I be doing something in a certain way that somebody tells me to do, even if it is not working for me? For example, we are all different. We are all learning in different ways. You might be learning through audio things. I might be learning through reading things. Somebody else might be learning through doing things. So why would I then be choosing to do it in a certain way that somebody tells me to do? Unless there's actually a really good reason. If there is a reason which might be, okay, I've been learning it in that way, therefore I assume that it might also help you to learn it in that way, just because I've really been able to learn it very easily in that way, then I can understand it. Of course I can understand it. But is it going to be the best way for you? Probably not. Is it going to be the optimal way for you or for everyone? Maybe not. Is it going to be something good for somebody? Yeah, it is. Just because some people are eventually going to be able to learn in that way. But just rather do it in your way. Rather just try and think of things on your own. Just, I don't know. Like a lot of things are given to you, and a lot of things are made by some other people, and they think it's good, but it is somehow not, at least not for you, and all those things. So I don't know, try to figure out things for your own or on your own, and see to just improve your productivity and improve whatever you're doing in your way. This is actually a really funny one. The store rules. The store rules: if you are crazy, stay out. If you plan on asking for a discount, refer to rule 1. And the third one is: please do not fart inside the store. There's 2 other signs there. No food, no drinks, no smoking. If you have a shitty attitude, we charge more. What the fuck? I haven't read the whole one, but I stopped at it and decided, okay, I'm gonna do that. First of all, it might be actually a pretty good way to market this store to some people, since marketing your store or marketing whatever you're doing to everyone might not be a pretty good thing. Just because there are so many people and I don't know, and so many people are trying to market things to the masses and do things for the masses, but in the end, it's not really gonna work. In the end, it's not gonna be the best way to just, serve somebody. You're basically then trying to serve everybody, and this is just not gonna work, which is also something that I've been realizing just lately, just because I had to think about who I'm actually willing to serve, what is my target audience, because it is actually nothing that I've been thinking about, which is just really something that's wrong. You should be thinking about it. You should be just figuring it out before you actually do something. But yeah, it happens. I'm just not that concerned about it. But I thought I would like to just serve these people, but if I serve these people and also the other people, then I'm having to just compromise something. I do have to just cut something back from one side and cut something back from the other side to then just combine these two. And in the end, it is going to be something that everyone likes, but nobody loves. And it is not the best thing. It is not going to be the best thing. Therefore, this might be actually a pretty good way to market things to just like people that find that funny. And by the way, the last one, if you have a shitty attitude, we charge more. It is like preventing you from just having a shitty attitude, because nobody wants to pay more or wants to be charged more. but but I don't know if this is something you can be doing, unless it is like, I don't know what store it is. This is something that I can't see right now, unfortunately, actually. But actually also asking for a discount, even though it's probably gonna work like 2 out of 10 times, is something that Tim Ferriss often recommends people to do, because you're asking for something, because you're stepping out of your comfort zone, just because you are interacting with human beings as well. And this is definitely an interaction that's not really fun to have. Can I have a discount? No. Okay, can I please have my coffee then? I don't know. It just really kind of seems not to be the best thing to do, or the funniest thing to have. But let's move on with a few other. This one's not funny. It's Let's Dance, and there's just two. It's a dress, and I think it's also a bottom up, and it's on a, I don't know what it's called, on a string, to just let it dry. This one's also not funny. This one's also not funny. This one's also not funny. And there's a baby, which is kind of funny if you're seeing it. And never mind. Whoa, this is actually a pretty good one. This is a pretty good one. Next. And there is a door, I think it's called doormat, but I'm not quite sure. The neighbors, is it actually spelled correctly? Because I'm always seeing it with O-U and not with only O without an U. But yeah, the neighbors have better stuff. And then next to it there's a note, okay, we will hit them up next. The thing is, it is actually not so bad to do so, especially if you're having a business. If you're having a business and I just imagine you're having a business, you are in your store just because it's a little bit easier to kind of understand and to go through. You're having in a store and you're in your store, and suddenly a customer comes in and asks you, can I have this and that and whatnot? And you kind of think like, well, I'm having that. What I'm having is not really the best thing. But I know that the next store, just the street down, is having just a way better product for a way better price. Should I say to the customer that the customer should go down the street and go to this store just because the product is way better than mine? Or should I just sell this person my fucked up product? My answer is the first one. You should definitely tell this person to just go to the next store or to the store you think is having a way better product just because it is nice. And it is also one of the practical ways why you should be just nice. Because if you're gonna do this is something that people will remember. It is something about human interactions. I haven't been doing this, and I don't know if I should actually be talking about it in such a way, but I can understand it. And I think it is also something that you can understand just really fucking well. They're gonna be like, wow, this person told me that I should, this person put me above his or her ability or willingness to make profit just because he wants me to get a better product. It is something that's very generous, and people will understand that, and people will also talk about that as maybe to other people. Okay, this guy just told me to go to another thing because he said that he's not having the best product, but the other people or the other person is having the best product for the best price. I mean, like, yeah, why not? If you just know that the other person is having a better product. Free mama. Do I have to cut that out? I didn't want to cut that out. Never mind. Is there something? No? Don't translate anything drunk. Don't drink a car under the influence of alcohol. That's not funny. And what's going outside there? And then there's something not loading, and this is the end of the whole thing. Maybe there's something that I can just find on Reddit. This made me laugh harder than expected. And it is a video. Do I want to watch that video? I kind of feel like no, actually. I really don't know why, but... And there's a picture. And the picture just shows me weed. Yeah, I don't know. It just shows me weed. But there's a meme. How's the food? Really good. And there's something miserable. Oh, I feel miserable, thanks for asking. This is gonna be the end of the episode. Yeah, this is gonna be the end of the episode. Just because I think it's getting not really funny and maybe also inappropriate, and I kind of feel like I'm having to cut out things. It's gonna just be more work, but it's actually been one of the best episodes that I've been recording in some time. And today is actually also a good day to record. But yeah, I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on who you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and which also means that you're just going to be something, or that you just do something that's nice, and then you're also going to be remembered as a nice person. But that's just a theory. The problem there is that there's just so many people on this planet, and there's probably going to be maybe 1,000 people, maybe 10,000 people that just dislike you, just because. 3 other questions that I'm having for you is, why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even some business ideas, since a lot of businesses started out with solving one of these things that really pissed them off. And it worked, because there's also probably going to be something that really pisses you off and is also not solved up to this point. But yeah, gonna see you the next time, I at least hope.